Hello everyone and welcome back. So in this video we're going to look at the solution to this question where we're trying to find the traces of a plane that contains the lamina given. And this video is going to focus on method 3, which is the auxiliary method for finding that VTH. So there's our setup. As you can see, we have our lamina, which is our hexagon in plan, and we have it kind of what looks like a stretched hexagon in elevation, just using the dimensions we're given. And there's our 3D of the same. So the auxiliary method, first of all, begins just as method 2 is where we have to find a level line on the surface. Now we actually have a level line already in the form of 4 and 3 and 6 and 1. So you actually have that 4 and 3 and 6 and 1 as a true length line. So if you were to do nothing else here, you could actually just look along 4 and 3, and that would give you the view where you see the actual lamina as an edge view. But let's just say we didn't have that. You can, of course, always go and draw in your strike line, your level line in elevation, giving us a true length line on the surface in plan view. So in this case here, that's between 5 and 2. There's 5 and 2. And you can see it is actually parallel to that. So that's, even if you went that far, it's not the end of the world. It just proves that 4 and 3 would also work for 4 and 3. So looking along that true length line, we would set up an auxiliary plane perpendicular to it. So in our case here, that's our x1, y1 at 90 degrees to this green line here, or 4 and 3 and 6 and 1. And we would project our lamina onto that plane. So each of our lines going in line with this green line here, and each of our heights coming from our elevation. So we're using our 1, 2 rule. So you can see the point number 1 and 6, well, there's our height and elevation, and it matches here like that. So that's our lamina. So method 3 basically says that if we extend on our lamina until it meets the ground in our auxiliary being the x1, y1, and that will give us a point view of the horizontal trace. So that's our horizontal trace here seen as a point view. So that's exactly what we do. We extend on our edge view of our lamina, and now we're seeing the edge view of the overall plane that it's sitting on. So there's the edge view of the overall plane, and there's the edge view of the lamina sitting on it. And where it meets the ground is a point view of our horizontal trace. So we just project that back into our view and gives us the horizontal trace. You can see parallel with our level line here. So to find a point on the vertical trace, we're going to, first of all, pick a random point on the vertical trace in our plan view. So we know that any point on the vertical trace is going to appear on the XY line when viewed from above. So that's exactly what we do. We take a point anywhere along here like so, and that's on the vertical trace in plan view, which appears on the XY line. So we're going to find that in our auxiliary. So we just project it along into our auxiliary. There she is there. There it is there. We project it up into our elevation, and we know that the height in our auxiliary here will match the height in our elevation using our 1, 2 rule. The heights here, go back 1 view, go back 2 views, this time from the auxiliary measured in the elevation. So there is our height, that's our point P1, that is a point on the vertical trace. And you can see it holds true for all that we know about our vertical trace. There it is in the vertical trace here. We know it should be on the horizontal, on the XY line in our plan view. So that stands true there, and that it should be on the lamina here in our auxiliary. So that gives us our vertical trace then in our elevation. So that completes the exercise using method 3.